For years, I struggled with my picking. I was fast, but not precise. Notes were sloppy, string changes messy, control inconsistent. So I did what every obsessed guitarist does. I analyzed players like John Petrucci, Paul Gilbert or Jason Richardson. Different techniques, different movement, different opinions. Until one day I realized something. Picking is actually quite easy. You only have to know the two important motions. And once you understand them, alternate picking becomes so much easier in every aspect. Let's break them down. Here we go. Hey Guitar Champion, what's going on? I'm 𝗚𝗚𝙦𝙦 back from my practice dojo and welcome to today's video. Today I want to talk with you about the two core motions of picking. These two movements will help you with fast alternate picking, clean string changes, string skipping, playing one string arpeggios, and even fast and tight riff guitar. Mastering alternate picking is still a journey for me. That's the good thing. This journey never ends. But these two movements gave me much more freedom and control. And in the next weeks, we will dive so much deeper into the picking mechanics, so you better subscribe if you haven't yet. And now let's check out the first main motion of picking. Here we go. But before we begin, no word from a sponsor, no segment to sell you something, just a general advice. Certain players that we consider great often develops a technique that works for them. That doesn't mean it works for everyone. And now I'm an educator, I have an educational approach and an educational job to do, so I want to find a way or something that works for everybody. And by that I started to ask myself a different question. Why don't we study guitar actually the same way how we study piano, violin, vocals or even athletics? Through and with the help of science. That's when I discovered the work of Nikolai Bernstein, one of the pioneers of movement science and biomechanics. His research completely changed how I think about guitar education. And if you want to dive deeper in all of that nerdism and you want to understand why certain methods and certain approaches works for everybody, you and me, then check out the biomechanics of speed picking. No, again, nothing that I want to sell to you. It is for free. It's a free ebook that I've published last year and you can download it with the link in the description box. So the first and the most important movement that we have is the wrist deviation. This one here. This is the core engine of alternate picking. When you play on one string, this should be your primary movement. But why? Because it sits perfectly between two extremes. Elbow movement moves too much mass, which makes precision harder. Thumb movement moves too little mass, which makes it unstable. Wrist deviation is the perfect balance between speed, control and precision. One of the most common issues that I see with students is this. As soon as they try to play fast, they switch to elbow picking. For some players this might work, like 𝗗𝗚𝙦𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘 for example. And they always say, when you of course can play whatever you want to play without any mistakes, without any problems, then of course never change a running system. But as soon as you hit a certain plateau, it maybe makes sense to rethink the system and your technique again. And this is a really common issue and a dangerous issue. Vinnie Moore, for example, used to pick a lot out of his arm. But since the 90s he has a lot of problem with picking because he damaged a lot of his elbow by using it way too often, way too much. That's why, for example, he switched a lot to legato playing. The tricky part is elbow movement is hard to eliminate. This is why I created a system called the reset button that helps you rebuilding your picking technique if you are determined and have a little bit of patience, because it is not something that comes overnight, unfortunately. If you are interested in that, you can download it as well for free. Just check the link in the description box. The second motion solves one of the biggest picking problems, getting stuck between the strings. The solution is a small movement called wrist rotation. Many players know this concept as pick slanting. The work of Troy Grady helped bringing this idea into the guitar world, and even though I have some criticism how it is taught today. Your forearm can rotate in two directions. Supination, which creates a downward pick slant, and pronation, which creates an upward pick slant. But when should we use downward pick slanting or upward pick slanting, supination or pronation? Well, there's a simple rule that really helps me. If the last note on a string is a downstroke, you want an upward pick slant. If the last note on a string is an upstroke, you want a downward pick slant. So it's always the opposite direction. Downstroke, upward pick slant, upstroke, downward pick slant. The small rotation allows the pick to escape the strings, making the string changes clean and effortless. The exact amount of the rotation can depend on the situation though. String skipping, arpeggios, staying on one string, going directly to the next string, all these different scenarios may need a different type of rotation. And this is why some masters of that technique have no problem to jump from a low to a high string with an ease and do some really interesting picking stuff. But once you understand the principle, it becomes surprisingly easy to apply. And if you want to know more, it now comes the sales pitch after a couple of minutes of free information for you. If you want to know more about speed picking and want to bring your speed picking to the next level, I highly recommend to check out the ZEN of Speedpicking, my big online masterclass. With more than 50 exercises, 10 etudes, 4 workouts for everybody who does not have much time to practice, and a bulletproof practice plan, I guarantee to you your picking will change to the better. It's not only theoretical and science-based, but there are also so many musical ideas that you can use in your next solo. So check the link in the description box to get the ZEN of Speedpicking, and don't miss the chance to get the ZEN of Sweeping, my big online masterclass about sweeping with more than 18 fun musical sweep etudes for 50% off. Again, link is in the description box for more information. You see, fast picking is not about talent. Fast picking can be achieved with dedication, a little bit of work and patience. And I've changed my picking in the last 5 years up to a point where I'm now finally, a little bit more satisfied with it. I can do some stuff with it where I've wished to do these kind of things like a couple of years ago. Fast 3-note per string runs, string skipping licks, arpeggios, all of these kind of things, not too much of a problem anymore. And all is based on basically 2 motions, deviation and supination. There can be quite influence of flexion and tension as well, but I would see this as collateral damage of the movement. I wouldn't train them individually. I would focus my picking in my practice routine to get the pure wrist deviation. Most of the rest, especially body awareness, which is an extremely important skill for improving on guitar, comes by itself. And so much for this little lesson about the 2 core motions of picking. I hope you liked this little lesson. If you liked it, then of course, as I've mentioned, consider subscribing. Leave a comment, a nice one or also a hateful one. Yeah, it helps the algorithm. And I hope I'm going to see you in my next video. I wish you a lot of fun learning, practicing and mastering the guitar. Cheers and power your progress.